Oral answer. And the first question is in the name of Dr. Russel Norman.
Mr. Speaker.
Kevin Haigh.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of Dr. Russel Norman, my question is to the Minister responsible for the GCSB and asks, does he agree with the New Zealand Law Society when it describes outcomes in the Government Communications Security Bureau and related legislation amendment bill as unacceptable and inconsistent with the rule of law? If not, why not?
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, no, because the bill clarifies the long-standing practices of the GCSB to assist other agencies, as it has under successive governments for over a decade. The bill also significantly strengthens the oversight regime for our intelligence agencies. As I've said several times before, this is not a debate about whether a particular New Zealander will have intelligence gathered about them and their activities. That will happen with the appropriate safeguards and oversight. The debate is about which agency conducts that surveillance, which of course must be done under lawful authority.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haigh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is he relaxed then that, as the New Zealand Law Society highlights, the bill will allow New Zealanders to be spied on more extensively and never be told in a manner that is, and I quote, unacceptable and inconsistent with the rule of law?
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, I've just answered that question through the primary question. I don't agree with the Law Society.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haigh.
Does he agree with the Law Society that the bill transforms the GSB from one focused on foreign threats to an agency focused on New Zealanders, again I quote, in a way not previously contemplated and that is inconsistent with the rights to freedom of expression and freedom from unreasonable search and seizure under the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990 and with privacy interests recognised by New Zealand law, close quote.
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, no. I mean, other than actually strengthening the oversight regime and some work around private support for private companies in relation to cyber security, nothing actually changes from what the GCSB has been doing under the Labor government with the legislation introduced by Labor in 2003, supported by Helen Clark and Michael Cullen and half the travellers sitting on the other side of the House.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haigh.
Does he stand then by his claim that this bill is simply a matter of clarification when in fact, as the Law Society has spelt out, the bill completely transforms the GCSB and gives it expanded powers and functions?
Right Honourable John Key.
Speaker, I completely stand by my statement. I mean, it's worth recalling if we go back, let's say, to 2006, a period where Helen Clark was Prime Minister. I'm sure if we look through the records, it's eminently possible GCSB provided assistance to either NZSIS or New Zealand Defence or the police. That will be the situation when the law is changed, and that is because there are currently difficulties of interpretation and we therefore ceased that assistance. I would also point out that that assistance is very important for New Zealanders, and that provides security and safety for New Zealanders. And members that don't want to provide that security and safety for New Zealanders should make that clear to the New Zealand public next time there's a problem.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haigh.
Is it the government intention, as is currently in the bill, to allow the GCSB, and again I quote the Law Society, under a cloak of cooperation with some other specified agency, to perform any activities that it chooses?
Well, Mr. Speaker, that
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, that just shows you what's wrong with the Law Society. It's not under a cloak, it's under a warrant.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haigh.
Is the Law Society incorrect when it says that safeguards provided in the bill are, again I quote, entirely inadequate to protect New Zealanders' freedom of expression and freedom from invasive search?
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, I believe they're incorrect, and I think it's also worth pointing out, Mr. Speaker, if we look at the legislation, these are the sorts of things that it's doing in terms of enhancing oversight of the intelligence agencies. We are changing and moving the requirement that the Inspector General of Intelligence and Security be a retired High Court judge. This will increase the pool of people who can do the job. Second, we make the Inspector General's office more proactive by increasing the requirements on the office and moving it a step forward from existing review-focused work programs. Thirdly, we'll be increasing the resourcing and staffing of the Inspector General's office, including creating a new role of Deputy Inspector General.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order. Kevin Haig.
I think we've all read the explanatory notes, sir. I don't think we need
If
it.
the member is satisfied with the answer, then has he further supplementaries?
Yes, supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haig.
Does the Minister have a genuinely open mind when it comes to the submission from the Law Society, and will he ensure that the bill is amended so that it complies with the Bill of Rights and international human rights standards?
Right Honourable John Key.
Mr. Speaker, of course we'll be listening to submissions as they're presented to the ISC, but of course if a majority of the Parliament doesn't agree with them, then no amendments won't be made on the back of their recommendations.
Question number 2, Chris Ockenville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Finance.